Serie A this evening. Milan, the champions, against Juventus, Italy's most decorated club domestically. Milan on the back of a chastening defeat in Europe. Juventus, meanwhile, got the job done against Maccabi Haifa. It's a good evening from me, Patrick Kendrick, alongside former Fiorentina defender Lorenzo Amoruso. Good evening, Lorenzo.
Good evening, Patrick. Yeah, as you said, an important game. We are still so many games to go by the end of the season, and to the fantastic break we're going to have for the World Cup, but still, now it's time to be counted. And Juventus, but also Milan, they must try to chase what up there in the top of the table is happening with, of course, Atalanta, Napoli. And so they're going to answer themselves what kind of team they are today, especially in this kind of important match, because that's all about. You need to answer on the field now.
Juventus scored 3 against Bologna. They followed that up with 3 against Maccabi Haifa. They're back in the goals. They've won back-to-back games. It's whether they can make those 3 goal showings now into 3 straight wins across all competitions. Pioli makes 4 changes to the team that were beaten in London. Theo Hernandez is fit again and captains the side, while Gaya begins the match for the first time since April. Brahim Diaz and Pomega also come into the 11. De Ketelada has been taken out of the firing line. He starts this one on the bench. A quartet of alterations too for the visitors Juventus, compared with their win over Maccabi Haifa. Deschilio is injured, Di Maria suspended, while McKennie and Paredes drop down to the bench. In come Alexandro, Bonucci, Locatelli and Milik. The Poland international has made quite a splash since returning to Italian football.
Manca davvero poco.
Possible change of shape then this evening for Milan. Certainly, as per our graphic, with a Christmas tree that harks back to the good old days of Carlo Ancelotti, which you'll see whether that indeed does come to pass. Leo Bonucci, once of the Rossoneri, albeit a one-season wonder. Juventus looking to show what they're all about again. Pavel Nedved will want to see the old lady once again back on top domestically. It seems a long and rocky road ahead, but if they are to once again be top of the pile, they'll have to beat the likes of Milan. Last season they were top of the tree. Milan have been on very good form in this ground in recent times, albeit they did lose here in their most recent league match against Napoli just prior to the international break, and they now have several absentees as well. Back-to-back wins suggest Allegri and Juventus are beginning to find some consistency, but they do say 3 is the magic number. Champions Milan might be deprived of several first-team players through injury, but their second string should still be a good match for the Bianconeri. It is an Italian classic. It is a mouth-watering prospect. It is, of course, Milan against Juventus, live from San Siro. Stefano Pioli, once of Juventus as a player, Max Allegri, once of Milan as a coach. And Some wonderful choreography pre-match here at San Siro. The Rossoneri, the reigning champions, the proud wearers of the Italian flag on their shirt as the Scudetto winners last season. And that trophy is currently doing the rounds on a global tour. No Davide Calabria, but Teo Hernandez is fit again, so he'll skip at Milan tonight. Leo Bonucci has inherited the armband ever since Giorgio Chiellini moved on to pastures new across the pond. Daniele Orsato is our very experienced match official tonight. And it could get fiery and tasty, it often does, between these two sides. There's the fourth official, Michael Fabri. Daniele Chicchi, the man watching on from Lissone. Milik got on the score sheet once again against Bologna. Rafael Leao struck the third in the victory at Empoli. Still no Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Alexis Salamakis and Simon Kjaer also there on the sidelines. The injury toll is beginning to mount up now for the champions. Will be a test of whether they do have newfound squad depth. But they still have Giroud, 36 years old, but going strong. Not just playing week in, week out, but several times a week too. Junior Messias, another of the absentees. Juventus are getting better, but they're not quite a finished article. Tonight will be another indication as to whether Vlahovic Chetal have completely revitalised the old lady, or whether she's still just limping along. Milan, young and vibrant, playing a modern brand of football, despite the absence of Mike Maignan. Juventus are on the up, Milan decimated by injuries, but the Rossoneri still wear the crown. We're up and running. It's the champions against the old lady of Italian football. What do you expect from this one, Lorenzo Amoruso?
Well, of course, I think the two teams, they need to win games, because up front there, Napoli, as I said, are flying. So they can't really think too much what the others are going to do, so they need to think about what they have to do. Winning is the key word. So I'm expecting an open game. Probably Milan will do the game for a little bit longer, but well, Juventus, we need players to really change the game.
Tatarusciano continues to deputise for the injured Mike Maignan. Milan also without Davide Calabria, who's the club captain and first choice right back. Simon Kjaer also on the sidelines. Here's Brahim Diaz, unable to keep the ball in play. It will be telling, because Allegri has said frequently, try and take away 5 of the best players of our rivals into Milan or Napoli and see how they get on. In response to the fact that he was putting Juventus' disappointing form down to the fact they didn't have several players available, the likes of Pogba and Chiesa, who is still on the sidelines. Well, Allegri's got his wish tonight. No Maignan, no Calabria, no Kjaer, Messias, Salamakis, Florenzi, Ibrahimovic. There's so many Milan players on the sidelines, you could almost build a starting 11 from that. Stefano Pioli has been low to point to that as an excuse. Expects his side to perform. Bonucci, Brenner, Danilo trying to release Quadrado, well in by Tomori. Here's Teo Hernandez, losing out to Rabiot. Now it's Rabiot again. Juventus committing numbers forward. Tonali across to win an important challenge. And he can set Milan on their way. He's got Teo Hernandez in support. Giroud further on. Tonali finding Brahim Diaz. Giroud waits in the middle. Brahim Diaz for Teo Hernandez. There was Locatelli in the way. Cleared by Kostic. Vlahovic made it stick, but Benacer dispossessed him. Locatelli for Kostic. Milan is short-handed at the back. This is Milik. And now it's Quadrado. Milik waits in the middle. This is Kostic. Still there for Milik. He's got half a yard. Locatelli waits. Cuadrado. They're unlikely to shoot from there. Promising start this from the bianconeri. Cuadrado, Locatelli, cut out by Raphael Leao. Pobega tried to release him, instead he's found Giroud, and Raphael Leao will have the pace, which chased it swiftly off his line.
Yeah, absolutely. Good start from Juventus. I mean, Milan started to have a game, the ball, but still Juventus should have got the space to go there in counter-attack. They had a fantastic performance there from a couple of players, and they made an important action because Milan was quite lucky, I have to say, to stay conquered. But that says enough how the two teams really they want to open up the game and try to win as much as they can.
Kostic trying to cause problems for Kalulu, playing it right back tonight, once again showcasing his versatility. Kostic got his first Juventus goal in that victory over Bologna, but he missed his kick there with his weaker side, just when it seemed Juventus had the chance to take the lead. Theo Hernandez has won a free kick. Juan Cuadrado and Danilo behind him could be very busy this evening. Theo Hernandez and Raphael Leao form one of the best combinations of any wide pair in world football. It was they who combine here. Raphael Leao, cut out by Alexandro. Kalulu. Kostic nearly forced the mistake. Raphael Leao beaten to it. This is Danilo. Milik will do well to keep it in. Wasn't the best ball from Danilo. It is the Juventus throw. Locatelli. Milik round the corner. Couldn't find Vlahovic, nor indeed Kostic. Good pace from Brahim Diaz, but Rabiot there, shoulder to shoulder. He had a great game against Maccabi Haifa. Scored 2 of the bianconeri's 3 goals. Long overdue. Return to the score sheet for the Frenchman. Rabiot. Danilo. Gapia got up early. Alexandros found Milik. Vlahovic was on the move. Milik's done well. This is Cuadrado. Vlahovic find a penalty spot. Still Cuadrado. Theo Hernandez stuck to his task and then won a free kick.
Yeah, good defending from Theo Hernandez. He's been watching just the ball. He never got caught from the 3, 4, 5 things that Cuadrado was making, and then he gets away. Maybe with a decent free kick, but still his positioning, his way to be concentrated was absolutely outstanding.
Ciprian Tatarusanu having to deputise again for Mike Maignan. That was the case last season, a 9-game stretch in which Milan won 5, drew 2 and lost 2 across all competitions. Tatarusanu very experienced at 36, but doesn't have the same athleticism as Maignan. And perhaps he could have done better with that free kick from Nedim Bayrami of Empoli last weekend, Lorenzo.
Yes, absolutely. But I see the problem of the goalkeeper, the second goalkeeper especially, is the fact that they don't get used too much, and it's a problem sometimes to find. I say the measure. The measure, there are no changing, but for the goalkeeper it's terrible to stay out for a month or 2 months. So that's why sometimes even the coaches, they try to let the second goalkeeper in some way to play Italian Cup or competition less important.
Alexandro keeping Brahim Diaz at bay. Bonucci didn't take too many chances. The only outball there was Kostic. Whether it's centre-back or right-back, Kalulu's performance levels invariably high. Could be a good outside bet for the France World Cup squad. Benacer. Pobega trying to find Giroud. It's run here for Milik. Now Locatelli came through the academy with Milan. pass ball forward. Getting cleared by Gambia. Locatelli's won it there, and now it's Vlahovic. 5 forward here, Vlahovic. Cuadrado! Narrowly off target, but could he have tried to find a teammate?
The Juventus, they are waiting for any kind of small mistake the AC Milan makes, and of course they are ready to face off. Look there were 5 arrows from Juventus up front. Cuadrado went for a shot, nothing to say about it, but still, you know, there were 4 people there waiting in the middle penalty box. Sometimes you take a chance. In this case, didn't go well for him.
There was the possibility of standing up across, much like McKennie did for Vlahovic last weekend against Bologna. Certainly Kostic was free there in the Milan box. On by Rafael Leao. Pobega jumped into Rabiot. Let's talk about Milan's shape. Is it the Christmas tree that we envisaged, or is it more like the usual 4-2-3-1?
Yeah, it's in some ways it's 4-2-3-1 because there are players that really, their position is really changeable while the game is pumping up, you know. So I don't think it's definitely changing the system. It's changing the attitude of some players for sure.
Teo Hernandez looking to switch it for Brahim Diaz. Difficult ball to control, but a thumbs up from Stefano Pioli suggests that's the way he wants to see his side play. Juventus struggling away from home. Allegri getting results at Allianz Stadium. There's now 5 matches on their travels in Serie A since they last won. A sequence which stretches back to last season.
I think all things need this team to swap balls from left to right, right to left, because in some ways people like Leao, like Brahim Diaz, man against man, they are very difficult to match. So swapping left to right probably will expose Juventus back in quite a different problem.
Question marks about Milan now because of the defeats in recent times, 2 in the last 3 to Napoli and Chelsea. But this is Teo Hernandez. Tonali couldn't quite grab it. Teo Hernandez went for the ambitious volley. It's run for Rafael Leao. His ball in, away by Locatelli. Teo Hernandez dispossessed. Bent in by Benacer, away by Brenner. Possible to dislodge him from the side. 12 starts from 12 for the Brazilian. Kostic, too quick for Gambia. Now Vlahovic. Locatelli. Cuadrado stretching the pitch. Vlahovic, cleverly done. Milik! Comfortable save for Tatarushan.
Yeah, good action made from Cuadrado, of course. Fantastic thing from everything he made from Vlahovic. You can see here they are waiting, he's waiting, and waiters as well. He's absolutely wonderful. He couldn't really place the ball properly, but still he made the player work.
Excellent aggressive defending from Brenner, but then Kostic took his eye off the ball. There's the Milan senior management, and Fabio Capello watching on as well, former coach of both sides. An example, though, of the understanding now between Vlahovic and Milik. Did Vlahovic get a shout, or did he have a look over his shoulder and know where his strike partner was?
Probably not one of them. Those are things that they've been in training. They know how to move, they know how to do things. So probably there's been shouting as well on the field, but still, if you shout, of course, you will attract the attention of the opponent, the defender in this case. So those are things that you try in training times and times till after the game and the game is football.
Rabiot, fabulous ball through for Milik. Vlahovic getting forward in support. Milik has found Cuadrado. Locatelli. Brenner. Danilo stepping forward. Still Danilo letting fly, and Tatarushan just about had it covered.
Yeah, well, Danilo is not due to this kind of finishing because he's got the pace, he's got the shot, and he's got a few goals as well, not just in Italy, but away. So just leaving Danilo from that distance, he's not going to have afraid to try. So be careful, AC Milan, because it can be quite difficult.
Good to see Paul Pogba in the San Siro crowd as well there, in the row behind the Juventus senior management, who have backed Max Allegri despite some up and down results, despite some protests from the fans and some scrutiny and speculation surrounding his position, particularly after that shot loss at Monza, but they bounced back. Bonucci caught by Pobega. And certainly in recent times Juventus have fared very well on this ground against Milan. Half a dozen wins on their last 9 trips, albeit there was nothing to separate the two sides last season. Both games ended in draws, second of which was here, and it was fairly drab already. Much more entertaining occasion after a quarter of an hour or so. Alexandro Milik with the layoff, this time Vlahovic not quite on the same page. We mentioned about the goalkeeper doesn't play much, Gaya plays even less.
Yeah, no, still, it's goalkeeper who is different. It's almost sport. Different, you know, play, they can help you, sure.
Theo Hernandez trying to get the cross away. Cut out by Bonucci. Theo Hernandez turned 25 on Thursday. That's when he resumed training after that injury. Then again, Fode Balotore certainly came in and made a splash, getting what looked to be the winner at Empoli. Then Rafael Leao made it 3-1, virtually the last kick of the game. Tomori. Benacer around the corner by Rafael Leao, but Pobega beaten to it.
Juventus is very tight. With the back, everybody is behind the goal line, and they play any kind of easy passes there, and it's going to be a difficult afternoon for Milan if they don't accelerate, or like Johnny said earlier on, go left, right, left, just to expose, like in this case. It's wrong, but I think that's the idea that Pioli has. Try to expose the left back, right back of Juventus when against left.
One of the best kickers in the league, Maignan, with his pinpoint precision on the ball at feet. Juventus trying to keep things tight defensively. Allegri did say that Milan can really hurt the opposition if you give them too much space in which to operate. He was referring particularly to Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao. So far so good for the Bianconeri. On by Pobega. Giroud has barely had a kick so far. Danilo dropping off Rafael Leao. Lovely ball towards Brahim Diaz, and with a better touch he might have been in there.
Yeah. A fantastic touch there, basically avoiding the opponent, Alexandro, probably, but definitely with less strength, probably have played himself in front of the people.
It is a very busy run of fixtures. A lot has been made of that, with so many matches, not only domestically but also in the Champions League, crammed into the calendar prior to the World Cup mid-season. Capia looking for Theo Hernandez. That does mean that if a team can get on a run of results, very quickly they can transform their fortunes. The other side of the coin is that there's not much time to work on things that are going wrong on the training ground. Milan began this weekend just 3 points behind Napoli at the top of the pile. Certainly not a bad spot to be in. Juventus fall further back. So if they are to have designs on the Scudetto, they need to go on a run of victories and also beat the sides they're challenging with at the top of the table. No foul there on Alexandro, despite his pleas to Daniele Ossato. Let's imagine this Juventus side with Chiesa and Pogba. How do they set up? Is it still a 4-4-2? Does it become a 4-3-3?
Especially if Chiesa would come back to Chiesa now.
That's going to be a corner for Milan.
Now so long. I remember if you go back like the year of back from this long injury, they quite long really getting perfect form. Pogba is different story, still is different, but of course the amount of quality that Juventus has is amazing to go inside the
first corner of this evening, and it goes the way of Milan. Chance for them to threaten potentially from the dead ball situation. Tonali sends in the corner, as well attacked, and Rafael Leao very nearly scored.
Yeah, nice corner, I have to say. Well taken, and almost with the back heel, I believe. See, yeah, back heel from Leao is almost scored. Oh, what a reflex. Nice. Well, taking corner, Juventus maybe not really organized well in the first post there, where Kalulu Tomori, I think, got the header, deflection, but yeah, very unlucky for him.
The best player in Serie A last season, showing why there. He certainly meant that and was just a post width away from giving Milan the lead. Theo Hernandez, it's behind Giroud, now it's Tonali. Rafael Leao couldn't make it stick. Locatelli, Juventus again springing forward. Milik, Cuadrado will get there, and once again there are four bombing forward in support. Cuadrado away from Tomori. This is Kostic. There was Tonali to make the challenge. Pobega's lost the ball, no foul by Rabiot. Locatelli was looking for Cuadrado and completely miscued it.
Yeah, Juventus just waiting for this counter-attack. They really distend themselves so quickly, so fast, because they've got players like Cuadrado that can really just change from defensive to offensively. But I have to say, Milan in bits, honestly, just go back, everybody, stay there, compact unit on the back of their defense, and they solve this problem. It's going to be a game where I think who's going to have more strength and probably attitude would take the game home.
Put it away by Alexandro. Kostic has given it straight to Kalulu. Awkward one for Pobega. Kalulu's flick from that near post corner very nearly caught Allegri and Juventus out. Relieved that Leao couldn't quite turn it inside the post. That's the closest we've come to a goal. It's the only time Milan have really threatened Wojciech Szczęsny. Rafael Leao trying to find Tonali, headed clear by Bonucci. Tomori was tripped by Milik. Allegri was well aware of the threat that Rafael Leao poses. He said he could win matches on his own. Glorious finish at Empoli to dink the ball further Vicario late on in that match. Rafael Leao now has 4 goals this season, all of them domestically, plus 4 assists too. It's not just a scorer but a provider. That's why he's so important to this Milan side. Vega leading the press. Away by Bonucci. Alexandro. Vlahovic. There was lots of space for Danilo, but he couldn't find him. Now it's Theo Hernandez with space to move into. Theo Hernandez, Giroud tried to return the favour.
Nice and good idea from Theo Hernandez, but I think he picked the wrong man, because Giroud as a striker was basically running through it, and so he probably wasn't really expecting that kind of ball. But of course, that ball lost from Vlahovic there in the middle of the park. That's been very dangerous for Juventus.
Know what Milan are going through. Szczęsny was out with injury at the start of this season. Mattia Perin deputised and did so very effectively. Perin arguably a better stand-in than Tatarushanu is, with the greatest of respect to the former Romania international. Alexandro, good touch that from Locatelli. Kostic for Vlahovic. Here's Kostic again. Rabiot. Locatelli. The foul by Tomori, says Daniele Orsato. Good take from Brahim Diaz. That's going to be a yellow card for Cuadrado.
Yeah. Time was basically the other way around. Milan took the ball away and Brahim Diaz just left everyone on the place. Unbelievable. Cuadrado had his free kick. So yellow card.
Disciplinary issues for Juventus recently. Cuadrado sent off late on in that very tempestuous draw against Salernitana. Angel Di Maria got a 2-match ban after being sent off against Monza. Second of that 2-match ban is what he serves tonight. Should be back though for Juventus' next game, and what a match that will be in the league, the derby against Torino. Kalulu. Time and space here for Tonali. He looks for Giroud, headed clear by Bremer. Vlahovic couldn't win the flick on, it still drops for Milik. Awkward one for Kostic. And there's Benacer reading the game so well. Wonderfully done. Brahim Diaz. Kalulu. Brahim Diaz, that's straight to Cuadrado, and now Juventus can counter once more. Cuadrado as direct as ever. Vlahovic in the channel. Tomori was aggressive, but stayed on his feet. Bonucci. Milik between the lines. Vlahovic. Kostic with the cutback. Tonali there to pick up the pieces. Kalulu. Nearly lost out to Rabiot there. Took a chance in the young defender. Both of these teams will be hoping to respond to that earlier victory for Inter, a brace from Dzeko, and the victory at Sassuolo. Giroud's headed down. Theo Hernandez. Pobega tried to let it drop into the path of Rafael Leão. Tomori. Kalulu. Rafael Leão coming in round the back. A bit of loose control from him, but he still kept the ball. Rafael Leão finding a cross and winning a corner.
There's no easy life for Leão tonight because Juventus and of course Allegri starting.
Here is Rafael Leão, away from Cuadrado. That could have easily gone in. Giroud wants a penalty. It was Vlahovic in the way.
I was saying they have much space. Juventus is settling down quite deep. Although he's behind his arm, but he's open the elbow, yeah. You see that? I'm not sure. I wouldn't really be the referee in this case because it's quite complicated.
Daniele Orsato in discussions then, but there's no penalty. Corner is deep from Theo Hernandez. Back in by Benacer. Tomori got his head to it. Theo Hernandez up against Cuadrado. Vlahovic did have his hands behind his back, but he certainly seemed to lean towards the ball. Perhaps judged to be more shoulder than forearm, but he took a chance, did the Juventus number 9. We've played half an hour here at San Siro, still no goal. Theo Hernandez wins yet another corner. Theo Hernandez with the corner. That's Giroud. Away by Alexandro. Giroud again. Rafael Leão. Pobega. Way over the top.
I don't understand these corners from Milan. Always comes down so slow. It's I wish I was supposed to do that. My opinion, nothing against Juventus, but for me, that's really bad.
The shot was on target. It's very calmly done by Rabiot to get away from Tonali. Now it's Alexandro. Cuadrado demanding the ball. Locatelli. Did Pobega leave one in there on Rabiot? Play goes on for the moment. Vlahovic holding off Tomori, finding Danilo. Milik beaten to it by Gaya. Rabiot. Kostic playing every single game for Juventus. 8th straight start for him. He's certainly impressed. It's moving. Cuadrado. Bremer. Danilo. Cuadrado's ball forward. Locatelli. Lovely give and go there with Milik, who has knocked off the ball. Locatelli now. Nearly ran for a black and white shirt. Kalulu there to clear.
Yeah, I don't understand why Locatelli had that kind of moment of doubt. Watching you are already in the penalty box. You should have just take a chance. Instead he was watching his teammates what they would do. And while he was thinking, great defending from Milan.
Locatelli once scored a famous goal for Milan against Juventus. Rafael Leao, too strong and too quick for Danilo. Still Rafael Leao. It's come off Bremer and dropped the way of Giroud. Benacer. Rafael Leao with space to shoot! And he's caught the post again, I think.
Seems so absolutely fantastic finishing. Look at that. He's aiming. Yes, absolutely. What an unbelievable shot. Look at no chance for Chesney if the ball was going in, because the way he stroked it was absolutely fantastic. Look at it. What a shot, by the way. Well done. Unlucky Milan again.
He is a fabulous talent, Rafael Leao. Milan desperate to tie him down to a new long-term contract. His current deal expires in 2024, but last season's MVP in Serie A, and on his day, absolutely unstoppable. Juventus have had a couple of scares. He's hit both posts in this first half. The scoreline remains 0-0, and Juventus's clean sheet remains intact for the moment. Overhit by Szczesny. Milan keen to get the breakthrough before the interval. Theo Hernandez. Tomori. Allegri urging his players to squeeze up. Will be fairly pleased with what he's seen from them defensively. They have had opportunities on the counter, but chances they've not taken. That was nearly a costly mistake there by Theo Hernandez. So just one effort on target, cumulatively from both teams across a dozen efforts. And that was the shot that was pretty much straight at Tatarusanu from Milik. Flicked on by Rafael Leao. Giroud. Rafael Leao. Pobega ahead of him. Rafael Leao. He's still going here. He hit the head of Bonucci. One back by Tonali. Benacer. That was tipping.
Yeah, Milan is pushing a little bit harder now. Seems that every time that they got the ball, they got a solution. Mostly, I believe, because Leao is starting to play off a little bit better. What I mean that he's coming off from the whole offensive line of Milan and starting playing on his own, and with his pace, with his ability, someone else take his place, and so gets much easier for Milan probably to play the way they've been doing the last 5 minutes now.
Bonucci took that shot right to the head from Rafael Leao, who was brave, the Juventus captain, but naturally requiring some treatment. Coming back to Locatelli, he was 18 when he scored the winner for Milan against Juventus back in 2016 on this ground. He only ever scored 2 goals for the Rossoneri, but one of them was against Juventus. Szczesny clearly beaten by that shot from Rafael Leao, who must be wondering how on earth he's not scored at least once, if not twice, in this first half. It's not been a bad start to the season for Vlahovic. 6 goals in 10 matches in all competitions. Naturally, those numbers pale in comparison to Erling Haaland of Manchester City. Bonucci is back to his feet. Here's why he needed some seeing to in the first place. To his credit, he waited for the move to come to an end before going down.
Yeah, I think he just called up referee attention. said, the shots from Leao was very short, it was very hard as well, so bad.
Alexandro. Brenner. Quadrado between the lines, that's Milik. Forward by Bonucci. Milik for Rabiot, it's back towards Milik. Benacer played the ball, he's come off the worst in that challenge. Tonali now, options away to his left. Trying to feed it through towards Rafael Leao. Kostic dispossessed. Kalulu got there. Now he's gone down holding his knee. And Milan are unhappy. They feel there were a couple of late challenges there. And they might have a point. Kalulu in considerable pain.
Yeah, you can see here delayed and of course hurt. And here instead, just got early. Meaning it doesn't do anything wrong in a bad way, but of course getting late in there, of course hurting Benacer twice in a row. This more or less same action. Showing yellow.
He's booked just the one player, Quadrado, for that earlier tactical foul on Brahim Diaz. Theo Hernandez trying to plead the case of Milan in his role as captain, but Milik certainly felt he didn't intentionally catch Benacer. Allegri was the previous Milan coach to win the Scudetto before Stefano Pioli managed that particular feat last season. Milan now on 19 league titles. Juventus have nearly double that tally. All this talk of Inter and Milan getting a second star on their shirt, but as and when they capture a 20th league title, Juventus are just 4 shy of having the right to wear 4 stars on theirs, which is an astonishing achievement. Away by Tatarusciano. Giroud wanted Rafael Leao a little bit closer to him there so he can latch onto the flick. Danilo. Tidy as ever from Rabiot. Locatelli. Brenner. Bonucci's ball forward. Wonderful close control from Milik. He spotted Kostic. It's a good ball. Kostic just behind Quadrado. Credit to Theo Hernandez for tracking back. Bonucci. Patient possession this from Juventus. Rabiot. Danilo tried to return it to Rabiot. Difficult ball.
Yeah, Milan the last 15 minutes look a little better up front. They're chasing everyone. They are closing down better. It seems that Milan is pulling the width and the length of the pitch much better, because Juventus has lots of problem now to find an open man where you can really put the ball forward. And Milan instead, they've got last 3-4 chances just because they really are running better than Juventus.
They've built out well from the back there. Just as I said that, Theo Hernandez unable to find Kalulu. That brought a smile and a chuckle from Lorenzo alongside me. It does appear we're going in goalless at the break. Not necessarily a result that would please either Allegri or Pioli, because it's all about trying to chase down Napoli at this moment in time. Kostic thought he got a pull of the shirt there. He's told to get to his feet by Daniele Orsato. Away by Gabbia. Well in by Locatelli. This is Benacer. Hounded by several black and white shirts. Kostic told to calm down there. He might have had a point, to be honest. There was a handful of shirt. Bremer tracking back. Shouldn't be too much in the way of added time. It's a good ball from Chains there, but well read by Theo Hernandez. It's got Rafael Leao in support. Danilo has to concede the corner. Juventus feel that Cuadrado was caught.
Well, we didn't see it, but the idea is that Theo Hernandez went definitely there, straight to the ball. Even the contrast seems to be, in some ways, yeah, maybe
the VAR might well have intervened had Juventus gone on to concede from that particular challenge. Kostic told to keep quiet, still griping away. Theo Hernandez with the corner, and Giroud! Tomori! He scored again against Juventus! He does not get many, the Englishman, but he seems to thrive against the Bianconeri. In the right place, at the right time, to give Milan the lead on the stroke of half-time.
Yeah, absolutely. He was almost basically having a position of striker there, because the strike came from a proper striker, but then Tomori was there in the middle. We can see he's not offside because Alexandro is there, so definitely should be validated. It's not end goal or anything, it's definitely goal, unless they go back to see what happened before, but I don't think they can go so far back unless rules are a little bit different, but still I think it's valid goal. Lovely turn actually from Tomori.
He didn't know too much about the piece of control, but the finish was absolutely comprehensive from Fikayo Tomori. He'd only ever scored once in Serie A in 56 Italian top-flight games before tonight. That goal came against Juventus. This one comes against the Bianconeri too. The goal is confirmed. Cuadrado felt he was fouled prior to the corner, but as you said, Lorenzo, it's a different phase of play. That had been and gone, and Juventus were unable to properly defend the corner, and that is a big goal for Milan.
No, that for sure. The corner was definitely defended really poorly from Juventus. They were impeccable until now, but then of course that corner was absolutely not good the way they defend, because if you considering the fact that Giroud controlled the ball and have a shot, and then Tomori had a control and had a shot, turning himself, that means that there was too much space there for the Milan player.
He was definitely onside. The ball definitely hit him in the midriff. There was no suggestion that he used his arm at all. No chance was chased there. Giroud's effort might well have been goal-bound anyway. Tomori having got in the way, they did the right thing by sweeping it home. Suddenly it's now Juventus's flaws being exposed once again. They can ill afford another defeat in the league. Kalulu looks for Giroud. He's found a pocket of space. This is Pobega. Now it's Rafael Leao. That's a lovely ball in, away by Bremer. Kostic will play the 2 added minutes. Vlahovic has won a free kick. That might well be a half-time whistle. But it's the San Siro crowd making themselves heard. And it is Fikayo Tomori's added time strike. which separates the two teams. The striker's finish from a centre-back, and that's what...
Grazie a tutti i cuori rossoneri che hanno sostenuto la squadra. Grazie. Radio 105.
Juventus were already playing catch-up going into this weekend. They are also playing catch-up tonight. They trail by a goal to nil at champions Milan. Fikayo Tomori with only his second ever Serie A goal. Both have come against the old lady. And Juventus will have to come from behind tonight if they are to keep their winning sequence going. It only stands at 2 matches, incidentally. A change for the second half. Quadrado had been booked and was looking particularly edgy, which is why he's been withdrawn. McKennie comes on. He can play on the right wing, Lorenzo Amoruso.
Yes, he can play. He's got good legs, he's got good feet, he's got good vision. He's quite a complete player. I think at the moment is the key Juventus should change the mentality, because the first phase, just at the beginning, Juventus seems to be quite offensive, but then they drop back, they let Milan post the possession, sometimes not good possession, but possession, and then they try to counter-attack. Now the game's changed. Milan is ahead. I don't think Milan will sit back, but we need to see how Juventus react.
The game has changed indeed. Milan leading by a goal to nil after that instinctive finish from Tomori. Found himself in the way and then in the right place at the right time. First of all, he obstructed Giroud's effort, which was goal-bound, and then he was able to turn it into a control, style it out into quite a finish. This season, certainly in the early portion, beginning to resemble very much the previous campaign for Juventus, when they left themselves far too much to do in the title race, despite an impressive run of 17 matches unbeaten through the winter and into the spring. Couldn't force their way back into the reckoning. Milan eventually topped the pile. Juventus would go 10 behind potentially if they were to lose here tonight, and Napoli were to win at Cremonese tomorrow, or indeed Atalanta get the better of Udinese. It is a long way back, 10 points behind after just 9 games, but that's the potential equation here, unless the Bianconeri can bounce back in the second half. Run here for Danilo. It's overhit though for Milik. Kostic will try and keep it in play, but he won't quite manage it. There was a Milan player down there. They thought there was a foul on Theo Hernandez. Certainly seemed to get the sharp point of Vlahovic's elbow.
Well, yeah, I think they were just chasing the ball, and then the ball, and it's a beautiful dead situation. think it was an elbow, was just a shoulder. Well, of course, for Theo Hernandez was a big hit. Intentionally there.
Vlahovic with the block. That's what allowed Danilo to scamper forward. Pioli certainly tried to suggest it was an elbow, but that's par for the course given he's defending Milan's interests as their head coach. Theo Hernandez only just back from injury, but he's back on his feet and ready to go. It was a groin problem, incidentally, he had. Bonucci. Locatelli. Vlahovic couldn't make it stick. Theo Hernandez. Rafael Leao. Tried to toy with McKennie. Max Allegri said yesterday when he addressed the media, I'm sure my team will produce a big performance. We've not seen too much evidence of that display quite yet. Plenty of time, though, for Juventus to show what they're all about. Try and demonstrate some resilience. McKennie. Last touch was off the American. Good challenge from Theo Hernandez. Yes, Milan lost their last league match here against Napoli, but that appears to be the exception rather than the rule. They had won 6 on the spin prior to that. There's Paul Pogba. How Juventus would love to get him out on the pitch. He certainly offers the dynamism they seem to be missing in the middle of the park.
Yeah, well, Juventus missing a few things, I have to say. I mean, we have to compare Milan. You can tell Milan is a team who's been through a whole difficult season, but a winning season. Because it's like when you need to grow up together. That's what Milan players did. In fact, it's one of the youngest teams, not just in Italy, but Europe. Juventus had them around. They are in the phase where
Locatelli, meantime, it's Locatelli's cross straight to Tappan.
Sorry, it's okay. Everything is going to be built up again because they're coming from 2 very good seasons. New player in, big names in. Sometimes for a coach to put all the big players in together is not so simple. Other way around, Milan choose for a different opinion. A few years ago with Maldini, with Masara, going to pick it up, young player, young talented player like they're doing now, but for to get together probably is much easier.
Milan reaping the benefits of these young players delivering on their potential and all gelling together as a team. Not too many egos in the dressing room, perhaps with the exception of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Got a turn there from Vlahovic, trying to find McKennie. Gabby instead has released Tonali. Brahim Diaz pouring forward away to his right. Tonali. Giroud calling for it. Instead it's Brahim Diaz. Still Brahim Diaz. Able to get the block in there as well. Rafael Leao. Testing McKennie for pace. Rafael Leao is too quick. He's got to the byline. Tonali couldn't quite stretch enough. Rabiot. Juventus in danger of being boxed in. Locatelli dispossessed by Pobega, who played the ball. Benacer. Pobega. That's a good challenge from McKennie. Juventus needed it too. Milik. Rabiot. Got a nudge from Tonali. Juventus have kept it with Kostic. Locatelli. Giroud went through the back of him. It is a Juventus free kick.
It's unbelievable how Leao knows how strong he is on his feet. And he's waiting for this kind of challenge. Challenge the opponent in the speed and the fastness. It's unbelievable way to play. And he does actually play so well.
It is the acceleration which is so devastating. Slows the opponent down, squares them up, and then just surges past them as if it were child's play. unique set of skills, Rafael Leao. Milik now for Locatelli. He looks to play it back towards Milik, slightly overhit because just for a moment he pulled off the shoulder of Gapia. Tata Luciano with a rare bit of gardening to do. Giroud wins the flick on. Rafael Leao beaten to it by Danilo. This is Brahim Diaz. Now it's Rafael Leao. That was firmly struck, but Chesney had it covered.
Yeah, Leao seems to want to score a goal because already 2 times that he had a shot at goal. Don't get me wrong, there was a chance to hit there. His teammates, Postonali on right-hand side, probably would have just made an action even more complicated, difficult for Juventus to shut down. But Leao seems he's got the feeling to goal and to posts. He's still got that kind of taste, bitter taste, and he wants to try to score a goal eventually.
Presumably the next step of development for Rafael Leao is to start scoring regularly in the Champions League, as he has done in Serie A. Might also fancy a tilt at becoming Capocannoniere, the title for the league's top scorer. Vlahovic was second last season behind Immobile. He's given it away to Brahim Diaz, and Bonucci couldn't dive in. Brahim Diaz, sensational pace, and he scores! All about the Spaniard. A sensational solo strike from Brahim Diaz, and now Milan have a 2-goal cushion.
It was long time ago we couldn't see a goal like that. What a run, what a great goal, even because he's not a right-foot player, but he's keeping the ball to the defensive lineup. He just rolled through, protecting the ball. People like this guy, Bremer, was chasing him, and he does everything perfect. Okay, big mistake again, because it's not first time from Vlahovic, but Ibrahim Diaz does a fantastic goal, guys. What a great goal, by the way.
And there is a certain symmetry to this. Brahim Diaz and Tomori both scored in a 3-0 win against Juventus back in May 2021. Tomori with the opener here, Brahim Diaz with the second, and now the champions flexing their muscle. Brahim Diaz finds the net for the first time since the opening round of the season against Udinese, and that was literally the only option he had available. He's been cautioned for taking his shirt off, but we were just talking about Rafael Leao's pace. How about that acceleration from Brahim Diaz?
It's an unbelievable acceleration, by the way. Sometimes you don't expect from players like that. I mean, we know he's fast, we know he's very quick, but honestly, protected when you run with the ball and you've got a body like Leao is something more easy in some way. Leao is quite tall. Ibrahim Diaz is not a giant, but he's been running and facing the Juventus defense run up like a giant, because protecting the ball wasn't easy at all.
Locatelli's trudging off. Not a happy return to this stadium for him. Leandro Paredes replaces the Italy midfielder, and Kostic makes way for Miretti. Lorenzo, I have to ask you, Bonucci is the Juventus captain. He's not been booked. He pulled out of the challenge there on Brahim Diaz. Should he have just taken one for the team?
Yeah, definitely so. Even risking eventually the red card, because anything could happen. But still, saying so, that's something that is not happening for quite long. And another thing is happening, which is not very good for Juventus, is the fact that even in the first half, Vlahovic dropped the ball in the air right in the middle of the park, and we had another action. I don't remember now who it was, but definitely twice in a row. It's not good, because as a striker, you know you are a guy who should hold the ball, and when you do so, your team is quite wide open. So, quite big mistake twice for Vlahovic.
Miretti is now on, so presumably Rabiot will play out wide left, given that Kostic has made way. Leandro Paredes, not a great first touch from him. He's able to atone. Juventus not enjoying their trips to the region of Lombardy this season. Beaten in Monza, they trail in Milan. Leandro Paredes, Miretti, two substitutes combining. McKennie, Miretti. Under pressure from Tomori, well in by Teo Hernandez. Milan first to every ball. Now it's time for Benacer to get some tactical instructions from Pioli, whilst another substitution is being made. Rade Krunic all stripped and ready to go. Pobega has worked hard for the best part of an hour.
Yeah, Krunic comes in instead of Pobega. A little bit less offensive strategy for Milan. Krunic is definitely will help the old midfielders there to hold on a little bit, because you know Juventus basically has got a brand new midfielder, so fresh legs. And of course, Juventus going to give any option instead of, yeah, that's a mistake we are watching now. And Bonucci honestly does something really bad, because what is wrong with Bonucci there is his position, is his square with his legs, instead to be up front with the other leg and eventually chasing back. Staying up front like that square, you are dead for a defender, especially such an expedient play game.
Giroud has won a free kick. And now Juventus's away form does become a problem in Serie A. They have not won on their travels since the 25th of April in Reggio Emilia against Sassuolo. Since then, a defeat at Genoa, who were relegated. They lost at Fiorentina on the final day of the season. That's what allowed the Viola to qualify for the Conference League. The first two away games of this league season were draws against Sampdoria and Fiorentina again. And then most recently, they were beaten at Monza without scoring. Too often they're failing to find the net when they travel away. Tonali with the free kick, headed clear by Brenner. It's dropped here for Benacer. Now Rafael Leao. Milan feel there are more goals in the offing. They sense the opportunity to potentially humiliate Juventus here. Rafael Leao. Benacer picks his head up. Giroud is there. Just too high for Krunic. And it goes behind for a goal kick.
Juventus seems to be just sparring partner at the moment. Milan definitely is confidence. They are running, they are playing quite well. Players that got definitely their confidence back. Although we said earlier on the game they are coming from a couple of bad games, but they seem definitely much confident in anything they do. Instead, Juventus this is my impression. You don't see a team, you see 11 players on the field, and that makes a big such difference there.
That is the criticism which is being levelled against Juventus, a collection of individuals. Vlahovic has given it away to Kalulu. Moise Keane yet come on. This Milan side has been built with targets and purpose and a plan. Who knows whether the same can be said about Juventus's recruitment. Teo Hernandez, Rafael Leao would have loved to have seen that ball stay in play. Unable to exploit Danilo on this occasion. Miretti. Lots of space for Rabiot. This is Danilo getting forward. He's away from Teo Hernandez. Danilo, Vlahovic, Miretti, Danilo. McKennie. Rabiot. One by Tomori, who's had a good game, not just scoring the goal, but defensively too. He's kept Vlahovic very quiet. Allegri has been bullish. Doesn't want to entertain any talk about his future. He is on a long deal. This is year 2 of a 4-year contract. Rabiot. Not much Vlahovic could do with that ball. Away by Krunic. Danilo. McKennie. Something we've said in the past, but there's no guarantee that Chiesa coming back fit and firing, and Pogba too, necessarily transform this team.
Also Di Maria is another player who can do the sparkle things up for Juventus. The problem is make all these players together, working together, and to be fair, when you play with such a weight under your shoulder, thinking that you must win any game, no matter what, you need to get to win, it's so complicated, especially because this is a team that's not really done properly.
Brahim Diaz for Krunic, and that was a chance.
Yeah, another chance. Milan, when they open up, they open so well. Going back to Juventus, this is a team who's been making piece after piece after piece. But just because Juventus is not a team coming from such 3-4 years winning, so you change a couple of players and it's easy. They go through the mechanics. This is a team who has been not good for a few years now, because even they've been winning with Sarri, but things nowhere, no sparkle for them, and that makes things even complicated for them.
Brahim Diaz will come off to a hero's reception after scoring the second. Giroud also makes way. Rebic and De Ketelaere are the 2 new faces for the Rossoneri. Wonderful goal from Brahim Diaz. Rebic, the man who got the opener at the Castellani, returning from injury, and how, scoring half a dozen minutes after coming off the bench there. Who knows whether he can do likewise here. He did score at Juventus last season. Benacer. Gaya. Bonucci got something on it, but Rebic collects the loose ball. Krunic was in space, so it's easy for Bremer to intercept. Milik has lost out to Tomori. Danilo with pace, but Rafael Leao with more of it. And that's where he's improved his game, tracking back, not just positive going forward, but also working hard defensively.
Yeah, that is a rule for most of the strikers everywhere, not just in Milan. If you want to play 3 strikers, every manager likes to say, okay, I need that at least 2 of you had to go back and give hands to the fans, and of course the midfielder especially.
Well, one back by Benacer. It's a good stretch from Leandro Paredes. Miretti again throwing his hands up to say, where are my options? Read well by Kalulu. Alexandro's lost out. Rebic. Alexandro threw Kalulu to the floor. That's why the whistle's gone. It's a Milan free kick. Nice gesture of sportsmanship there from Allegri. Brahim Diaz has hurt his Juventus side, but nonetheless, acknowledgement of the fine set of skills that the Spaniard showed there. Reading the game to intercept the ball, and then the pace and determination to breeze away. De Ketelaere for Theo Hernandez. He's onside for the moment. Theo Hernandez! That was ambitious, and he surely should have looked for a colleague.
And egoist as well, I have to say, because there were 2 people there, 2 his teammates in the penalty box. We can see here, everything is perfect. Look, there is Rebic, Leao, were so many, 3 players in the penalty box, but the French guys wanted to leave his mark in this game as well.
He scored one of the goals of the season last year against Atalanta down the stretch, a solo run, an even longer one than Brahim Diaz has done today. Perhaps he was trying to improve on that particular effort. Nothing wrong with the run and the control, couldn't loop it beyond Chesney. McKennie. Juventus still a bit short on ideas. Gambia bumped into the back of Milik. Miretti. Frustrating for Juventus that Di Maria got himself sent off at Monza, not only because they ended up losing that game, but also because they missed him against Bologna, albeit still got the result. They've certainly missed Angel Di Maria tonight. A hat-trick of assists in the Champions League. One of several world-class players in their side. Still a quarter of the match remaining. Bremer under pressure from De Ketelaere. Milan have once again pressed to good effect. Rafael Leao. Krunic now playing as a number 10, perhaps a concession from Stefano Pioli to the fact that his side lead by 2-0. They don't need to force things. Safety first approach.
Of course now Milan thinks, I'm not saying they are easier, but definitely come back in the game, something. And Milan, we know how they good they are. Follow full the space and all the situation that when there is acceleration, they are very good on this. So it's even worse than that.
Well charged down there by Rebic. Did just go behind for a goal kick. Juventus need to get a win once again against Maccabi Haifa, what they managed earlier this week. They are to stay in contention in the Champions League, having lost to Paris Saint-Germain, then Benfica. Miretti. It was a good ball for Rabiot, but Kalulu read it. Miretti. Alexandro. McKennie. And now Milik. Paredes. Miretti keeps it moving. Danilo's cross. Milik's header. Straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, a chance for Juventus now. Really, chess movement was very good. Fantastic cross as well from Juventus right back. Trying to place the ball at the corner with less power. I think he went for the power, the way you've seen it, and the ball just goes straight to
He's only had a couple of saves to make, but they've been regulation stops. Luciano, both from Milik, incidentally. Vlahovic very quiet. When he's on his game, he's devastating. Dusan Vlahovic, too often, goes missing. If he is to be one of the world's best in his position, Juventus need Vlahovic to be at the top of his game week in, week out. Yes, he's not had a lot of service, but culpable too for the second goal with that careless square pass.
I think Juventus will change his formation and Swiss at the end and Pau at the end. Because in that case, how do we do two main strikers with it? Of course, Pau should play with, I think 4-3-3 using different kind of players.
Milan have a corner as they chase a third goal. They've gone close on a couple of occasions from corners already tonight. They scored their first goal from one of these set pieces. Tonali sends it in, up in the air by Milik. That's Milik again. They've let it bounce. Rebic is there. Bremer took it away from him. Won by Benacer. Now Allegri playing ball boy. Not much emotion displayed from the Milan senior management. McKennie claims he kept it in play. The assistant disagreed. Optimistic appeals there from Milan fans and players for a foul. Yes, it was a high boot from Bremer, but he took the ball. Didn't make any contact with Rebic. Good refereeing from Daniele Orsato. Miretti tried to find Rabiot. He was in too much of a hurry. Now it's Kalulu. Does appear more likely that Milan are going to add a third as opposed to Juventus half the deficit. Gabbia. Tomori. Switching play. Won by Alexandro. Miretti. Dealt with by Gabbia. Benacer. He felt he was blocked off by Rabiot. Good advantage because De Ketelaere has it. Now it's Rafael Leao. Theo Hernandez streaming forward. Rafael Leao. Theo Hernandez. Danilo slammed the door shut.
Yeah, 100 miles per hour. Leao and unbelievable. I'm watching Theo Hernandez on the left side. Unbelievable. They were so fast, but well done. Probably the best player for Juventus. Danilo today, I have to say.
Yet another corner for the Rossoneri. Theo Hernandez with it. Found the head of De Ketelaere. Still there for Rebic. De Ketelaere again challenging for it. That's Gabbia's head, and it runs for Alexandro. Given away to Rebic. Once again, too hasty in trying to find a teammate.
The idea was good. I don't think it was his intention to do that, but definitely the ball was for Leao, was right in the middle of the box.
Final throw of the dice from Allegri with Keane about to come on. They do need to score sooner rather than later, you think, otherwise they're going to struggle, albeit it was a late show in that game against Salernitana, but Milan a different standard of opposition to the Granata. Danilo's beaten Theo to the loose ball. McKennie. Danilo standing up across. Kalulu got there ahead of Miretti. Rabiot. Alexandro. Paredes had to stretch. Leandro Paredes. McKennie. Milik. It's behind Vlahovic. Milan can come again with De Ketelaere, who's deceptively quick. Rebic. Krunic. Rafael Leao. De Ketelaere wants it. Still Rafael Leao. Going himself. Bremer heads it behind. Theo Hernandez couldn't beat the first man, Leandro Paredes. Tonali. Tonali seeks out De Ketelaere. Done well to find Gabbia. That looked like a shot. Bremer made sure it went no further. Benacer. Gabbia playing right wing. De Ketelaere couldn't retrieve it. Paredes. Rabiot. No real urgency from Juventus to get the ball up the field and try and exploit the fact that Milan were out of shape. McKennie. Vlahovic dispossessed by Krunic, and away goes Kalulu. Rebic wants it through the middle. Kalulu, Rafael Leao takes over. Still Rafael Leao. Wanted to give and go with Krunic. Was that handball? Daniele Orsato immediately speaking to Daniele Chiffi, the video assistant referee. Rabiot meantime. The referee gave it a long, hard look there. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets the opportunity to check out the monitor. Instead, it's going to be... Well, there you see, Bremer led with the arm. Is that a penalty, Lorenzo?
I don't think so, because honestly, the arm was basically down. Okay, it's a little bit wide, but not really much. The contact is very short. You can cut his arm. It's very difficult. Something there. I don't think the referee will.
Indeed, he hasn't. So Keane is on for Vlahovic. It was an instinctive movement towards the ball, albeit his arm was eventually down by his side. By the way, it shouldn't prove, you would think, decisive in the way this match goes. Rebic might well have been onside there. Alexandro, just as he did on the goal, sleeping, the last man back. It was he who played Tomori onside. A dozen minutes still to play at San Siro. Juventus need a goal, and quickly. Here's Keane. Looking to find Milik in the middle. The ball runs into touch for a throw. Here comes Matthias Soler, the young Argentine. Fourth substitute appearance for him, doesn't get many minutes, just 23 his previous 3 matches. Rabiot comes off. It is a more aggressive change from Allegri. Difficult though for Soler. Only turned 18 in April, or rather 19. Kept in by McKennie. Danilo. Soler. Good switch for Keane. Miretti in the box. Here is Miretti. Tonali keeping tabs on him. Miretti's done really well. Soler was waiting, and Tonali makes sure it doesn't go behind for a corner.
Well, definitely today, Tomori is one of the performance together with Gabia, with seems to be seen again the AC Milan last year where the defense was absolutely
Kalulu. Now it's Rebic. Rafael Leao waits in the middle. Rebic standing it up. Rafael Leao forced backwards. Milan haven't had too many clean sheets at the start of this season. Here's Teo Hernandez. And they're on course for one here. Only a third in 9 league games. Would be a return to their defensive form. Rafael Leao started to showboat. Danilo. Miretti. Moise Keane. Danilo. Time and space for Soler. Danilo was tripped by Krunic. This is Leandro Paredes. Milik couldn't find a teammate. Away by Gambia, that's Tonali. Anywhere will do for Milan. Rafael Leao toying with Soler, bringing a cheer and a smile out of the Milan supporters. Bonucci had a head start on De Ketelaere. Paredes, Bremer. Soler dispossessed. possessed by Theo Hernandez. It looks like Milan are going to record an important victory against one of their rivals. They managed it against Inter. They couldn't manage it against Napoli. They look like they're about to beat Juventus. McKennie has lost the ball to Tonali. Ketelare. Rebic is quick. Alexandro made sure he got in front of him. Another Rossoneri substitution forthcoming. Going to see Asta Vranks for only the second time, but how many times recently have we seen those cutaways to the Juventus senior management looking thoroughly bemused and unimpressed by what the team are offering up? Benacer will be afforded a big ovation here. Really the heart and soul of that double pivot for Milan along with Tonali. Vranks coming on, and so too Divock Origi, who we've not seen for a while. He'll replace Rafael Leao. Origi plays in Serie A for the first time since the derby. This is Keane, Milik, Moise Keane! And Juventus thought they'd got one back. Important challenge to deny him.
Yeah, fantastic challenge, because Juventus has done everything well there. A challenge from probably Tomori again. Done absolutely wonderful.
Can Juventus find a lifeline here from the corner? Sent in by Soule. That came off Theo Hernandez. It'll be another corner. Lovely give and go there. It was Kalulu who got the challenge in. Fabulous defending from the right back, but we are used to seeing him in the centre of the pitch. Didn't lose his bearings there when tracking Keane. Paredes takes the corner, headed clear by Rebic. Vranks beaten to it by Alexandro. Miretti. Origi tried to play it off Paredes. It is just a Juventus throw, though. Divock Origi is still seeking his first Milan goal. It's just a sixth substitute appearance for him. Milik, well tracked by Krunic. Doesn't get any easier for Juventus in terms of significance of the match. It's the Derby della Mole next time, and then the away side against Torino. We've seen just how bad their away form is. Yes, it'll be the same city, albeit a hostile stadium. Milan's next league match after they entertain Chelsea here on Tuesday is away at Verona, which now holds happy memories after last season's 3-1 victory. Banished the memory of the Fatal Verona that had cost them twice in the past. Danilo beaten to it by Theo Hernandez. Well won by Gambia. Juventus have committed numbers forward. De Ketelare. There's that languid style again. Spotted Origi on the shoulder. Paredes. Milik. Soule. Miretti. Milan have Juventus right where they want them. McKennie has found Alexandro. Now it's Keane. He's made a good impact since coming off the bench. Miretti. Paredes. good ball. As things stand, Juventus would have 13 points after 9 matches. It's certainly not championship winning form. It's not up to scratch when it comes to the top 4. It's a shade above mid-table. That's where they are at the moment. Started the weekend 7th. They currently sit 8th, albeit 16 teams still to play later on this weekend. Incidentally, the late game is between Bologna and Sampdoria. Bologna having recently changed coach, Sampdoria having done so even more recently. Gianpaolo replaced by Dejan Stankovic. Leandro Paredes straight to Theo Hernandez. Is there time for Milan to grab a third? Rebic got a nudge. He's still urging his players to do all the right things, but it's quite a response to that 3-0 loss at Stamford Bridge. Looks like it's back to the drawing board for Allegri, just as he thought his team were inching forward in search of progress. They've come crashing back down to earth. Krunic on by Origi, just trying to link up with his compatriot De Ketelaere. Alexandro. Paredes, Sule. Danilo, we're into the final minute at San Siro. Leandro Paredes thought about the shot, instead it's Keane. Paredes told to get to his feet, Moise Keane. Paredes. Keane again! That was stumped goalwards. Tata Luciano saying he didn't touch it, a corner's been given.
Since he came off, actually, it's giving a bit of a sparkle to Juventus because no one is doing anything. He's the only one who really is searching for something, Even a shot, a great goal. The big gift that Taro didn't really touch, that's why we got confident.
Sent in by Sule, it's gone a long way. This is Bremer. That was goal bound. Milan still has some defending to do. Alexandro, too close to the goalkeeper. Clenched fist from Matteo Gabbia in celebration because this was close for Bremer and Juventus. He did score those 2 goals late on against Salernitana. Bonucci from a rebound, having seen his penalty saved by Sepe, and then there was the goal from Bremer prior to that. Milik then scored what he thought was the winner. It was disallowed. Smashed into touch by Theo Hernandez. We're into 4 added minutes here. Sule. Milik couldn't control. Kalulu first to the loose ball. Origi. No foul by Bremer. Bonucci. Milik immediately closed down by Tomori, who's arguably man of the match. So attentive defensively. Got that all-important breakthrough before the half-time interval that really took the wind out of Juventus' sails. They are suffering from a lack of confidence. The self-belief seems brittle and fragile. Origi with the pace. He could be in for number 3 here. Origi! Good save from Szczesny. And Rebic unhappy he didn't square it.
You're right, absolutely. But that says it's normal for a striker. To be fair, I don't know even how he could really, right in front of the goalkeeper, just come back and waiting for his teammates. I think he went probably up that choose for finishing the second post instead of the first, because normally goalkeeper they must cover the first post instead of really just going across.
Once once again. Bonucci's relative lack of pace exposed there, pulled out of the challenge. Origi was too quick for him, much like we saw with Brahim Diaz on the second goal. Milan keeping it in the corner for the moment. Origi. Leandro Paredes had a couple of kicks there. And then as he followed through on Tonali whilst clearing it. Well, Juventus have had several sendings off this season. Cuadrado and Milik against Salernitana, Allegri too. Most recently Di Maria. Leandro Paredes now losing his head. And what was a fairly peaceful game has suddenly got a little bit tense. Daniele Orsato keen to avoid a big decision, I think. He's just going to book Leandro Paredes, and perhaps Tonali as well, for obstructing the quick taking of a free kick. Krunic told to move away, and indeed Tonali is going to get a talking to, and it all ends with a caution for three players. Keane, Tonali and Paredes have their names taken.
Juventus, there is a lot of frustration, I understand, maybe, but for Milan point of view, they should because everything from this game, so why losing your head?
Milan nearly lost their heads. Juventus have certainly lost the game. 4 added minutes all but up. Leandro Paredes unable to have the impact he would have liked off the bench. Allegri unable to have the impact he would have liked from the technical area, and that's becoming a theme of this season. Pioli and his players all set to celebrate here. Victory in the derby against Inter, a win here against Juventus. Just that one slip up against Napoli, but other than that, it's been a great season so far for Brahim Diaz and the Rossoneri. The champions remind everyone how they won the Scudetto in the first place. On the big occasions, Milan tend to step up. Goals from Tomori and Brahim Diaz, relatively infrequent goal scorers, but they are the men that have got the headlines tonight. And Milan bounce back from their defeat at Chelsea. Juventus is still not absolutely right domestically, and they have plenty of work to do. Full-time score at San Siro, Milan 2, Juventus 0.